Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to Xbox On, and it is the 15th anniversary of Xbox, which is kind of mind-blowing because I remember as a kid going to a shop, getting my Xbox for the first time, ridiculously excited.
You're too young, Benny.
Those are my diapers. I was just like,
It's painful for me. But because it's the anniversary, it got us thinking about our 15 all-time favourite Xbox games.
And also, do let us know in the comments your favourite games of all time with the hashtag 15 years of Xbox. But anyway, let's get into ours. Straight in, no mess, it has to be Halo 1. What can you possibly say about Halo that hasn't already been said? Using the power of the Xbox, it gave us a shooter unlike any we'd seen on console before. Full of giant alien worlds and amazing vehicles to explore them in, it's a game of sights and sounds you can never forget. The squeal of the grunts, the rattle of the assault rifle, and it wrote so many of the rules of modern shooters, such as limiting us to 2 weapons, the focus on recharging shields, or the absolutely essential co-op campaign. And we probably poured more hours into split-screen multiplayer than we did into every other game in this video combined. Well, until Halo 2 came along.
The original Fable is the definition of an Xbox classic. It's the king of morality-based gaming, aka will you be good or will you be bad? Almost everything you do helps make up that decision. For example, do you save the traders and kill the bandits attacking them, or do you help the bandits and take the traders' stuff? You can even wear clothing that influences people's opinion of you. Wear bright clothes to play the hero part, and wear dark clothes to be the moody, gothy evil guy. Nothing like a bit of stereotyping, eh? The other thing that really stands out for me has to be the humour. It's extremely British and very silly. The NPCs come out with some cracking one-liners, and it seems so much funnier when it's said in a Cockney accent. Cool, blimey, oi, gavna! Maybe not like that though. It's an immersive, fantastical RPG that doesn't take itself too seriously, and when a lot of games can bog you down with the doom and gloom of it all, Fable is the perfect pick-me-up.
It's a bit of a cult classic, but I've always had a soft spot for Crimson Skies. It feels a bit like someone spun a whole game from that bit in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade where he steals a biplane. It's an ultra arcadey aerial combat game with controls designed that let anyone fly like an ace pilot. It basically feels like you're the star of a 1930s adventure film, and it feels great. At the time of release, it also offered classic 16-man dogfights over Xbox Live. You're unable to play them now, but if you play this on the Xbox One via backwards compatibility, you can still enjoy small split-screen fights. It's a game that's always deserved more love than it got, so why not give it a go?
It's easy to forget how weird the original Xbox could be. Games like Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, Voodoo Vince, and Stubbs the Zombie showed a very different side to the gleaming armoured cool of Master Chief. But for my money, games came none weirder than Psychonauts, a puzzle platformer set in a summer camp for psychically gifted kids. With levels taking place inside the minds of other characters, you'd see their deepest fears played out in real time. Ever fancied a trip to somewhere called the Meat Circus? Well, now's your chance. Those who missed it on the original Xbox can still enjoy it via Xbox Live Arcade, and there's a sequel on the horizon too. Yes, Xbox will get weird again.
Is it possible for a game to be one of your happiest memories and one of your worst nightmares? I think Ninja Gaiden might be that very game. It takes absolutely no prisoners, punishing even the tiniest slip-up with a world of pain, and trip back to the nearest save point. It was never really unfair, though it just wanted you to concentrate really hard on timing those blocks and using every trick in your ninja playbook to outwit the enemies. It still plays amazingly well today. That super slick frame rate is still a thing of beauty. If you think you're tough enough, dig out a copy and play it on the 360. Don't say we didn't warn you.
You never forget the first time you saw Gears of War running on an Xbox 360. It seemed impossible that something that good looking was being pumped out of our TVs. Of course, it helped that it had brains to go with those looks. Sprinting our meat mountain heroes between cover not only made for amazing firefights, but set the tone for the next few years of Xbox 360. We must have spent most of the console generation cowering behind waist-high walls. Naturally, no one did it quite as well as Gears. Certainly, no one else managed to take that action and distill it into such a killer online shooter. Until Halo 3 came along, this was the game that defined Xbox Live on 360, even if we did spend most of it being blown apart by a Nasher.
Not only is Modern Warfare one of our greatest Xbox memories, but you could argue that we're still playing in its shadow now. In one single game, Infinity Ward rewrote the multiplayer rulebook, creating the leveling system and persistent online profile that is still the standard some 9 years later. It helped that it mixed those ideas with a legendary map designs like Block and Crash in a time when Nuketown wasn't even a twinkle in Treyarch's eye. These were the definitive multiplayer maps, and it was supported by a truly awesome campaign full of shocking deaths, surprise perspective shifts, and in all gillied up, one of the all-time great FPS levels, and thanks to the remaster, you can enjoy it all over again.
For the hundreds of hours of criminal fun Rockstar gave me in Grand Theft Auto, it's Red Dead Redemption that calls me back again and again. No other game on Xbox so perfectly nails the flavour of its setting. Whether you're galloping across the plains or striding into the local saloon to get blind drunk or lose your life's earnings in poker, it's our dream cowboy simulator. John Marston may not have been the most talkative of characters, but it meant he could step out of the way and let you play as the cowboy you wanted to be. And when you did step back into his story, it was every bit as epic and blood-splattered as the spaghetti westerns that inspired it. Not bad, not ugly, just good.
You can't tell the story of the last 15 years of Xbox without at least one nod to Forza Motorsport. Picking between Turns 10's racing simulators is like choosing a favourite child if you're allowed to take that child into the garage and fit them with a pair of shiny new hubcaps. But I'm going to go with Forza Motorsport 4. Its handling model let you hit your own sweet spot between stern simulation and accessible arcade. It allowed you to pick over cars and under their hoods in the Alta Vista mode, and it featured some genuinely funny commentary from everyone's favourite Top Gear presenter, Jeremy Clarkson. 5 years later and we're still ogling those shiny bonnets.
Skyrim holds a huge place in my heart, which probably has something to do with the fact that I've spent almost 300 hours playing it. For me, it's the ultimate pick up and play game. You can spend 15 minutes on one of the side quests, collecting blue butterflies for someone, or delivering a letter to another city, or you can spend 6 hours straight chaining quest after quest after quest until you have to stand up and walk around the room because you can't feel your legs anymore. I assume that's what would happen anyways. Skyrim isn't without its faults. It can be a bit of a buggy mess, and you can only clear out so many bandit caves before it starts to feel a bit samey. But there's no denying that it's an incredible game, which is one of my favourite places to escape to after a long, hard day. Fosra da indeed.
I don't know that any game makes as good a first impression as Titanfall. Getting a pilot under your thumbs for the first time and steering them along walls and over rooftops felt like we were really stepping into a new generation of first-person shooters. And that was before you cooled down a whacking great Titan, clambered into its cockpit and started raining death on the tiny meat puppets below. Okay, so it lacks the amazing story campaign of Titanfall 2, but I can't forget just how amazing it was to have Stomp onto the relatively young Xbox One. Whenever you buy a new console, you're waiting for the game that you can show your mates and say, "See, I told you it was worth it." And back in March 2014, this was the one.
Xbox has always done certain things very well. Guns, cars, occasionally driving in a car and getting out to use a gun. Ori and the Blind Forest is quite unlike anything else in the console's history. You play a tiny forest sprite who morphs into an acrobatic superhero as you gather powers throughout a dense forest obstacle course. It may sound nerdy, but Ori is one of the best handling platforming heroes ever made. Maybe even the best one that isn't called Mario. And Ori's world is stupidly pretty, layering up 2D details into a fantasy landscape that wouldn't be out of place in a Studio Ghibli film. When all the death and destruction is weighing me down, a trip to the Blind Forest is all I need to perk me right up.
Where do I even start with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt? Do I talk up the gorgeous world or the vicious beasts that live in it? Do I celebrate the mighty Geralt with his fire-spewing palms or the hundreds of memorable characters you meet in the course of a 200-hour adventure? Few worlds in the last 15 years of Xbox give you so much stuff to lose yourself in. 1 year on, I'm still hunting down blueprints for rare weapons and learning to mutate my hero into an even bigger badass. And then there's the temptation to press reset and start the whole thing afresh, making different decisions to see where the story will take me. Question is, will I be able to finish it by the 30th anniversary? Probably not.
There are two types of gamers in this world, Forza fans and Forza Horizon fans. As much as I love the pristine simulation of the main series, it's the arcade energy of the Horizon that revs my engine. Horizon is what happens when Forza lets its hair down, taking those beautiful motors and letting you throw them around impossibly gorgeous locations. Forza Horizon 3's Australia is one of the best playgrounds in Xbox history, letting you rip from coastal highways to off-road buggies in the outback to the swooping bends of Yarra Valley's vineyards. Beautiful.
What amazes me about Gears of War 4 is how much it felt like coming home. Even with its younger cast and new enemies, it feels like a perfect continuation of the original game. If anything, it has more in common with Gears of War 1. It's a more intimate and intense game, all about scrabbling in twisting corridors and fighting off waves of attackers as ammo clips run dangerously low. It also builds on the classic multiplayer with some awesome new game modes. I love the gun swapping arms race and the rapid rounds of escalation, and if you'd rather work with your fellow man, Gears of War 4 Horde mode is the best yet, with new character classes and the ability to build defenses where you see fit. If it's this good after 9 years, I can't wait to see where it goes in the next 15. So there we have it, just some of our favorite games over the past 15 years. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Do make sure to let us know in the comments what your favorites have been and if you agree or disagree with us with the hashtag 15 years of Xbox. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future content.
And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button and check out another one of our list shows whilst you're at it. We will see you next time. Bye.